I'm Daniel Ruiz from the Anarcho team, and I will be explaining the UML. Now, the UML's UI is left blank as there's a lot to it, but it's mostly just one big method. Now, within that method, we just give the user access to almost everything just by using the UI. The facade helps in order to pull information for the UI to be able to use in a more concise manner. From here, the information it pulls from will also be from user list, account list, and sessions list. These things are affected by both the facade and by data writer and data reader. The user list just has information that's categorized about whatever is required. In this case, let's say we're running a camper, or we were trying to find a camper and we're a parent. Then it would log our session and it would mark our account as, a parent. On top of that, it would start getting information on whatever users would be assigned to this specific account. So this could be a camper, it could be a counselor. It would just tell us who's linked to this account. This is information that's being pulled from the data writer and the data reader, which are both getting stuff from the JSON files. The JSON files can be edited by both these things in order to help streamline the process of actually adding and removing campers. From here, we can move on to sessions, where we can see that sessions tell us exactly what is going on within that week. It gives us information on the week and on the cabins, and on top of that, the theme for the week. So it gives us an idea of date and location. On top of this, cabins specify even further on the activities and the schedules for each individual cabin. These cabins have campers and counselors assigned to them, which, as we take our attention to this side, we can see that campers are completely affected by counselors in the sense of adding strikes in order to add a suspension. Campers by themselves don't do much except affect the cabin and the attendees list. The attendees list is all the information required to make sure that the camper and the counselor will be in safe hands, whether this be emergency contact information, which by itself is a separate piece in order to keep that more streamlined and easy to access whenever called upon, or their allergies and diets. Any of this stuff can be accessed from here. And this is then pushed into the user, which tells us what users are linked to the account. Only directors can really affect the user in any kind of editing manner, whether it be removing them or just possibly adding a new one that wasn't there originally. It is specifically used to call upon anything that might be required by the UI to accomplish. This can include registering a new camper or just confirming that the password that was inputted is correct. Much of this just returns existing values, and most of these existing values can be pulled from the JSON files. The JSON files get their stuff pushed onto data constants. Within the data constants, we can actually turn whatever's in the JSONs into something usable for the rest of the files. It can also be used in vice versa, being able to write whatever exists within our actual files and throw them into the JSONs in order to actually save these things. From there, we can move on to data reader, which is just one of the examples. And all it does is go through the JSON files by calling the data constants and making sure that each of these things actually exist. So while all the way in facade, we're just calling for an account and the account moves us to an account list, the account list itself is basically going to just return whatever the data reader gives it. Does this exist? Well, in this situation it did. So it returns whatever was inside the accounts.json in order to give us the proper information needed to keep working. Other such things like session are very effective when it comes to having to affect multiple things within the UML. Most things, specifically the schedule and the cabins will be affected by this. Campers are also affected by this, but not in the sense of being directly affected. It's more of a whatever they will be doing will be affected by this. Here within campers.java, we also return information for campers in a readable form. The same goes for counselors, although there is a lot more written here for the purposes of distinguishing them. Meanwhile, in attendees, we have both campers and counselors' information being returned, which will return any information that can be pulled from the JSONs from the data reader. In this situation, we're getting information about pediatrician phone numbers, and that can all be brought back to this facade where we can input that in order to register a camper, or we can just call upon it in order to actually view it.
All right, this is Jaden Arnold for the scenario 1 for Anarcho Centerless Commune. So first things first is we're going to run the program. So we're going to log in as a director, Samantha Samuels. So we need to create 9 sessions. Hawaiian. Session 2, which is Rock Stars. Session 3, which is Ninja Warriors. Session 4, which is Willy Wonka. Session 5, which is Hollywood. Session 6, which is Legos. Session 7, which is Cops and Robbers. Session 8, which is Shark Tank. Session 9 is S'mores. And now that we've created our sessions, we can go view the schedules. Now we're going to be viewing Session 2 for cabin number 2, which you can see they have hunting, archery, chopping wood, and then they have their breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then now we're going to be showing the schedule for day 2 and cabin 5, which is kayaking, backpacking, and rock climbing, along with our breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Alright, my name is Andrew, and I'm going to be taking you through scenario 2. So we're going to run the program, and we're going to log in as a parent. We're going to log in as Lavea Davis. And our password is super secret. And now we're logged in, and we can see that Lavea Davis has a child already named Nutella Davis. And so we can see his information here. So we've already got all this loaded in. So if we want to register him for a session, we go register camper, and then register an existing camper, because we already have him in the system. And we'll select him. And then we get a list of all the sessions that we have at the camp. So we look through the list and we see what we like based on their themes, and we like week 3 with the Ninja Warriors theme, so we'll select that. And then Nutella Davis was added to the session. So now in our main menu, we can see next to his name, he's got this here indicating that he has been signed up for week 3. And if he was signed up for any more sessions, they would be here too.
Hello, my name is Matthew, and the scenario that I'm doing is scenario number 3. And this is where Leva now goes through the process of adding her younger daughter, Daisy Boo Davis, to her account. Her first name is Daisy. What Leva would do is insert the name Daisy, her last name Davis, and then her phone number, which is 789-654-9083. And her email is davis811@gmail.com. Her birthday is May 4th, 2010. The address that she lives at is 110 Goodway Drive in Inman, South Carolina. The guardian name is, of course, Leva Davis. For the emergency contact, that is going to be Neil Davis. His phone number, which is 890-789-9876. And Buzz Davis, and his phone number is 890-450-3745. Now for the pediatric care, this is the name of the pediatric care center, which is Palmetto Pediatrics, and her doctor's name is Megan Martin. The phone number is 803-455-6767. And for her allergies, she has a pine nut and sunflower allergy. So all she would have to do is just type in pine nuts and sunflowers, and then type done. And now it moves on to the dietary restrictions / medication information, which for Daisy Boo, that is that she needs to take 5 milliliters of Zyrtec at breakfast daily, and then done. Now, that is everything that it takes to add her to the account. All she needs to do is press any key, register an existing camper by entering one, and selecting Daisy Boo Davis. And to put her in the same week as her brother, all you need to do is enter 3 so that she gets added to week 3 like your brother. And now she is added to week 3.
So right now we're just simulating on what counselor would do inevitably. We already set up an account for one Kix Gonzalez. Here's their email. Password is very secure. And we got 2 options, and our task is to see the schedule. So we enter a specific week. We are tasked for Ninja Week, which says label as week 3. We're getting day 1. And we're getting cabin 3 because we need specifically all 8 students between the ages of 11 and 12. So just to make sure it wasn't a fluke, we restart our program again. We are a counselor. This is Kix Gonzalez. Our password is secure. We want to see the schedule. We get Ninja Week. We're getting the first day. And we want cabin that's holding all the 11-12 year olds.